Hi everyone, this week's health tip, we're going to do a two-parter. I'm going to go through a couple of things here. To start off with, I want to talk about the specific fat loss program we have in our office. It's getting close to summertime, people want to look good again, so we have sort of like an accelerated fat loss program where people are taking a specific drop under the tongues and following a specific program that we lay out for them. And it's very common for men to be burning off about 1 pound of fat a day during the program, women half a pound sometimes, something like that. We've had some great success stories in the office, and when the people are taking the drops, they don't feel hungry, and their body is just burning the fat in a really great way. So just so you know, that's available. If you want some information or free consultation, we can talk about that program. You can just send an email if you're interested. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a two-parter here because there's a number of different things to talk about. But I'm just going to go through triggers. The hormones in your body are like me saying, yelling out to somebody. If I said, pick up the bricks or something like that. For me, yelling it and then receiving that message and doing that action, that's kind of like what a hormone does in your body. So you may have like a hormone released in your pituitary gland that might go to your adrenal glands or something somewhere else in your body, and so it's signaling your body to do something at a distance. So there's certain hormone triggers that will actually cause you to burn fat, and some of them will cause you to store fat. So triggers meaning stuff that we'll be putting in our body or doing with our bodies in exercise or that kind of thing. So I'm going to talk about a few of them right now. So things that will kind of help push your body towards storing fat, and the biggest thing I'm going to put in brackets here, causing insulin to go up. Because insulin, cortisol, those are the main ones, but insulin in this case is a very big thing. So what's going to be causing insulin to be in a higher state that your body will want to be storing fat? Number one culprit, of course, is unfortunately sugar, and that's all different types of sugar. So white sugar is the big culprit. Brown sugar, mildly a little bit better, but it's still causing the same problem. Like if you look on from the sugar cane plant all the way to white sugar, brown sugar is just like a half a step back this way as far as the processing. May supply one or two more minerals or something like that, but overall it's the same thing. Honey will do the same thing, and even white flour kind of does this too. But just as far as the sugar, that's the main one. So processed sugar is horrible, and they all cause big spikes in insulin. So on the other side, things that will help you to burn fat, surprisingly enough, I'm actually going to put fat on this side. Isn't that weird? Fat's actually kind of a neutral kind of substance when it comes to your hormones and triggering fat and all that kind of stuff. In the old days it says, avoid all saturated fats, it's bad for you, and that's going to cause you to gain weight and all this kind of stuff. But as far as the triggering of your hormones, fat's kind of neutral. It doesn't really do a lot one way or the other unless you're really exaggerated in the amounts. But what kind of fat am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about good fats, which are good fats in this case would be healthy saturated fats, which would come from butter, but from grass-fed organic sources. So once again, if you know farmers, if you know the people who have the cows, they're out there feeding on the grass and they're producing butter. So good organic grass-fed butter would be awesome. That's a good source of saturated fat. And the other one is coconut. Coconut oil is a big thing. You're going to be hearing a lot more about it if you haven't heard so much already. It provides a lot of great benefits: antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, just good for a lot of different things in the body. And it also supplies medium chain triglycerides, so if people have had problems with their gallbladder and they can't digest fats okay, those ones actually, you don't need your gallbladder too much to get them into the system. Provides a lot of benefits for brain, and people with dementia should be taking coconut oil regularly, and anything with a brain issue, taking that as well, very important. So that actually helps your body burn fat if you have the right kind of fat. Number two, for storing fat, we're going to use sugar again plus protein. So when you put those two things together, horrible combination. So let's say you have your hamburger and you put ketchup on it, bad combination. All right. Any kind of protein source where you're adding sugars and proteins together, that causes a lot of spiking in the fat storage as well. On this side, burning fat, we're going to just put regular protein here. So let's say you want to start the day with a good breakfast. A good breakfast would actually be something like some good free-range organic eggs, and then some avocados, and maybe some slices of tomato or pieces of kale or something underneath that. So that would be actually a really good combination. So you're actually getting good protein and good fat, and you're also getting the other important thing for burning fat, which I'll add in here, is vegetables. Okay, particularly what we call the cruciferous vegetables: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, kohlrabi, Swiss chard. All those kind of darker green kind of cruciferous vegetables are really, really important for the benefits that they provide. And one of these two kind of go together quite well, because when you eat proteins, when you digest them, the byproduct of protein digestion is a little bit acidic, and it causes it's a waste product that your body needs to get rid of. And when you have specifically cruciferous vegetables like kale and broccoli and Brussels sprouts and those kind of things, they actually help your liver detoxify the waste products of the protein digestion. So in the old days, people were doing the old Atkins diet, where they just said eat all the fat and all the protein you want, don't worry about it. But you really kind of need this, number one, to provide a lot of vitamins and minerals and the potassium to help your liver and everything, but this helps counterbalance the waste products of that. So that needs to be digested properly, and I'll get into that maybe in another program, how your nerve system is important for properly digesting your protein. You have too much protein, actually, excess, we're going to call this excess protein. So if you're looking at your meal, you know, maybe 4 or 5 ounces, like your protein size would be more or less the size of the palm of your hand, maybe a little bit bigger. But if you're doing like steak this big, that's just too much of a load on your system, and it'll cause imbalances. And especially if you're not eating any vegetables with that, you're just having a big steak. And if you throw in some, I don't know, potatoes and some other junky stuff, French fries and all these, you know, trans fats and other bad things in there, that would be too much of a drain on the system, and that will cause you to store fat as well. Hopefully you guys have heard of that monosodium glutamate. It's a neuroexcitotoxin. Causes a lot of damage in the body. It's there for flavoring, because what happens is, over the course of all our years of kind of making our soils depleted and stuff, our food actually is kind of getting a little more bland over time, and they're actually adding this to make it more flavorful. So they're adding MSG into our foods to just bring out the sweet and really stimulate the brain to really make you excited about the food and stuff like that, and make you craving it. But there's a lot of there's probably like 15 or 20 variations on what they call this now. They're calling it a lot of different things, like hydrolyzed yeast protein and autolyzed yeast protein, and they're coming up with a bunch of different names that sort of hide MSG. So if you go on and do a Google search on alternative names for MSG, you'll see like a list of about 15 or 20 of them. That's pretty important to try to avoid that as best you can. So this is just part one. I'll go into some other ones the next time, but that's just sort of like your baseline things to look for as far as hormone triggers that will be helping your body store fat, and hormone triggers that will help your body burn fat. So hopefully that was helpful, and in part two I'll go through some other ones and next week. Take care. And once again, if you like the video, please share it, and you know, share it around and let people know. And if you'd like to call the office about our fat loss program, please do that. And the number and email will be below the video. Thanks.